disappeared on Friday, July 7th, 2006. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Roxanne Paltoff's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenage girl leaves a motel one summer night and never returns.
She left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse behind, and I knew at that moment something was wrong and my daughter was in danger.
Could the items she left behind hold clues to her disappearance?
I know Roxanne's clothing, and I've never seen these clothes. It wasn't even Roxanne's size.
I thought, okay, this guy's got her ID and we're gonna find Roxanne.
Or will the results of DNA tests reveal what really happened?
I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is...
July 3rd, 2006. It's a humid Monday morning in Austin, Texas. 18-year-old Roxanne Paltoff is looking forward to the July 4th holiday. This Independence Day marks her and her boyfriend Lewis's 2-year anniversary. And after the fireworks, they're planning on spending time together in a local motel. She returns home to pick up some additional belongings.
She came in the house, rushed in, and she goes, I'll be home in a couple of days. And I said, okay. And I said, just, you know, call me. And what she did, always, she called me every day.
Roxanne is the much-loved oldest daughter of Liz Harris's 5 children.
Roxanne had a beautiful smile. She had a wonderful personality. She had a very good heart. She would give you the shirt off her back.
Mama, come down here.
Go ahead, Roxanne.
Come down here with me.
I will.
Get together. Roxanne, come on.
Roxanne, jump way out. See rocks right there. You'll hit them. Full of life. She loved her brothers and sisters. She would do anything for them.
We went to the same high school, and everybody knew Roxanne, and they knew us because of Roxanne. We were the Paltoff girls. She was a big sister. She was the one that everybody looked up to.
After some difficult years in high school, Roxanne has become a hard worker with new ambitions.
She started doing her GED, and they had a program where they help you find work, and she got a job as an intern at a florist shop. She was growing up, becoming a young woman, making her own money, meeting new people.
She came in and applied for a job here. She was interested in floral design, and she really blossomed into this beautiful designer, very creative, really talented girl who got along with all of the employees very well.
She had everything lined up. She worked so hard to get where she was. She was back on track. She had got back into school. She wanted to get things right. She wanted to make her mom proud.
On the afternoon of Friday, July 7th, Roxanne calls her mother and asks to spend one more night with her boyfriend Lewis. Roxanne's mom's not thrilled, but knows Roxanne's having a good time swimming and sunbathing before school and work resume on Monday.
And I told her that we're going shopping, and I said, why don't you just come on home and we can leave early in the morning. She goes, no, we're already here, and I'm just gonna stay the night, and I promise I'll be home early in the morning. We'll go shopping. I was disappointed, you know, you're choosing Lewis over your family. I said, okay, fine, be that way, Roxanne. I just had like a little attitude, you know. But she loved him. I mean, that's it. You know, you want to spend time with the ones you love.
Roxanne's mother often thinks back to that conversation and wishes it had gone differently. She also wishes she had listened to her instincts and told Roxanne to just come home that day.
That was actually the last words I said to her before she disappeared. And I've always felt guilty about that.
By noon Saturday, Liz Harris is still waiting for her daughter to come home. She tells herself that Roxanne will walk in at any moment and flash her vibrant smile. But the minutes tick by, and there is still no sign of Roxanne.
We waited around for her, but I don't think we tried calling her. We just thought she just dissed us, that she was spending time with her boyfriend.
I wasn't going to stop our plans just because she didn't make it here. You know, she would have made it home eventually. I'm not going to go calling her and say, where are you? We just went on out to the outlet mall and spent several hours out there. And it was going to be a family adventure, you know. Mom don't have money very often, so let's go shopping, you know.
When they get home later that day, Roxanne's mother Liz and her family get a call, but it's not from Roxanne.
Lewis called me, it was late afternoon, and he had asked me, have you seen Roxanne? And then I said, what do you mean, have I seen Roxanne? She's been with you. Where is Roxanne?
Lewis tells Liz Harris that he hasn't seen her daughter since 8:30 p.m. the previous night.
Well, he told me that they had an argument. She was pissed off because they're arguing over her old girlfriend or something. Roxanne just walked out, and he said that he tried to go after her, you know, beg her to come back into the hotel room, and she refused to do that. And he went out about 20 minutes later, where he last saw her. And she was nowhere around. He said he searched for her and couldn't find her after that. He says he had her purse, and he had her cell phone, and he had her clothing. She left the hotel room with just her clothes on her back and her shoes, and that was it. It sounded like he was concerned, and I knew at that moment, the mother instinct, that I knew something was wrong and my daughter was in danger.
Coming up, police investigate Roxanne's boyfriend and uncover disturbing information.
Roxanne had disclosed
Her boyfriend, Lewis Walls, had been celebrating their 2-year anniversary together in Austin, Texas. But according to Lewis, after an argument, Roxanne leaves the motel where they had intended to stay the night and doesn't return. The next day, after missing a planned shopping trip with her family, warning bells immediately go off for Roxanne's mother when Lewis calls asking if she has seen Roxanne.
The main thing was that she was not with him, and she hadn't contacted me, and she was supposed to have been home that morning, and things were just going through my head. I just couldn't understand it in my mind why she hasn't called me. And then I found out that she didn't have her cell phone, and she didn't have no money on her, because she left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse.
It just didn't make any sense. If you were going to get mad and leave the motel, you would have took your stuff with you.
According to her mother, Roxanne and Lewis have argued in the past, but there's something about her disappearing that deeply concerns her family and friends.
It was unusual that Roxanne didn't call home because she always called. She was responsible about keeping in touch with her family. She had a few close friends, but mainly it was her family.
When we first heard about it, we're like, oh my God, Roxanne's gone, we had to go find her.
Roxanne's family immediately heads to the motel in North Austin where she and Lewis had been staying. It's in a rough neighborhood, known for drugs and prostitution.
I knew of Runberg. Runberg was the area that you knew you just kind of stayed away from. You know, it was a lot of unsavory people, people that you don't want to associate with. I think Roxanne should have known better than that area to be in.
I didn't particularly know that the hotel she was staying at with Lewis was that bad. And it was like the cheapest hotel in the area. That's why they picked it.
And I'd show people pictures, telling them my daughter's missing, I'm trying to find her. And nobody had ever seen her. They didn't know who she was. Lewis and I kept calling back each other that night. And I told them, look, we both need to call the police.
They both call 911, and 3 days after she is last heard from, the Austin Police Department's Missing Persons Unit starts its investigation into the case of Roxanne Paltoff.
Her mother had called and reported her missing, and also Lewis Walls, who was her boyfriend, called and reported her missing. So at the onset, I mean, there was concern that A, where Roxanne went missing from, there's narcotics, prostitution, and B, Roxanne's not the type of person to be missing for an extended period of time without making contact, especially with her mother.
Police turn their attention on the motel. They arrive ready to begin their investigation, but finding a scene to investigate proves problematic.
There were some bookkeeping errors that didn't allow us to ascertain who was in what room, if you will, or even how many tenants were at that hotel, as well as their identities. A lot of the rooms at that hotel that may show to be vacant on paper actually have subjects in them.
According to the motel booking sheet, Roxanne Paltoff had stayed in room 217. Police aren't sure whether the information is accurate, but decide to check it out anyway.
It was very clear upon going to that room that there was going to be no physical evidence available. I think it was roughly 5 to 6 days after her disappearance. The room that she was supposedly in had already been, of course, cleaned 3 or 4 times. Someone else had stayed in it. It was an unsecured scene for too long. Too many people had gone through it.
Next, the police focus their efforts on the area around the motel, talking to people who might have seen or heard something.
The area of Runberg and 35 is essentially a high crime area. So a lot of the possible witnesses are already involved in some type of criminal activity and therefore would decline to speak with me.
After initially making contact with the police, Roxanne's boyfriend Lewis has recently stopped returning calls. Investigators believe he can shed critical light on the case, since he was the last person to see Roxanne.
We knew we needed to speak to Lewis quickly.
But Roxanne's mother does hear from Lewis. He shows up to return her daughter's belongings 5 days after she went missing.
And he handed me the cell phone. And then I went through her purse. She had some rings in there. She had a toothbrush, her driving book. She had her debit card in there, no ID, and maybe a little bit of makeup. That was all.
Lewis also returns a bag of clothing, but on closer inspection, her family realizes the clothes aren't Roxanne's.
We went through it, and it was clothes I've never in my life seen. And I didn't know Roxanne's clothing, and I've never seen these clothes. What I thought was strange, it wasn't even Roxanne's size. It was like way too small. It was like kid sizes.
I told Lewis, these are not Roxanne's clothes. He goes, well, I just gathered them up off the floor and put them in a bag. I thought they were hers.
In the days following Roxanne's disappearance, the police continue their efforts to speak to Lewis. Roxanne's family feels compelled to go back to the area around the motel. They're hoping to find someone who saw Roxanne leave the Budget Inn on the night of July 7th.
You just search that residential area, the abandoned houses, the ditches, the gullies and the drain storms, dumpsters, knock on people's doors. Have you seen my daughter? Have to tell them the story. You know, my daughter's missing, I'm looking for her.
Their search comes up empty. They decide to zero in on Roxanne's cell phone, thinking it might contain clues. They request her phone records and turn them over to police.
There was over 300 phone calls, page after page after page of phone calls from various places, and they were like a minute apart, a second apart. You know, there was just a constant calling on her phone.
One number is of particular interest.
There were several phone calls made from Roxanne's phone after she disappeared that were to Lewis's ex-girlfriend in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Police contact the ex-girlfriend and learn disturbing things about Lewis.
She did indicate that Lewis had told her he was in some trouble, he needed to come out there to New Mexico to get away. She declined to have him come to New Mexico. She informed us that she's scared of Lewis, that they had a violent past history together.
Roxanne's family has never been very comfortable with her relationship with Lewis.
He didn't really say much. Whenever I met him, He didn't try to get to know us, wasn't really friendly, quiet, kind of awkward.
Lewis, he was not allowed to come over to my house. I disapproved of him. You know, no job, no future. Roxanne's running to him all the time. She was trying to go further in her life, and he was just trying to pull her down. And I saw that as a mother.
From the beginning, Roxanne's friends believed that she and Lewis had a volatile relationship.
Roxanne's mother drove by a bus stop and just happened to find Roxanne. She had a busted up nose, so Elizabeth took her straight to the emergency room. And at the time, she had told everybody that she fell or something of that sort, that it was an accident. And then one time during a conversation with her and I, it did come up that he had hit her hard enough in the face, a straight punch, that he broke her nose and she had to have reconstructive surgery on her nose.
We have statements from Roxanne's friends indicating that Roxanne had disclosed to them that Lewis had struck her in the past and that Lewis was very violent when he was angry, and that she indeed was scared of him at times.
Investigators look at the big picture, Lewis's past and the fact that he and Roxanne apparently argued shortly before she went missing, and step up their interest in him.
Anytime someone comes and tells you, I had an argument with someone and now they're missing and I was the last person to see them. I have a violent background. I have a history of being abusive towards the women I date. Lewis was a suspect pretty much immediately.
The police run a background check on Lewis Walls.
Lewis had a series of involvements in small crimes and a conviction for a felony delivery of a controlled substance.
I did not know that he spent time in prison. And I was furious. You know, why is she with this guy that's got this criminal record?
Lewis's police record also reveals personal details that he had previously chosen not to disclose.
When Roxanne and Lewis first met, she was 16 and he was 18 or 19. After she went missing, so when we found out his real age, when she was 16, he was really 28.
It was scary, you know, what kind of elements has she gotten herself into?
Roxanne had never been in trouble herself, but her friends and family often worried that she could easily fall in with the wrong crowd.
I think she was gullible. She believed in people. Everybody told the truth. Everybody's nice. Nobody's gonna hurt her. You know, she didn't, I don't think, really understood how the world works out there.
She thought she was invincible sometimes. It was just, nobody's gonna do anything to me. It's not gonna happen, you know, and I'm with him, so I'm safe.
What I learned about Roxanne just in talking, especially with her family and her closest friends, is Roxanne played a real good tough girl role, but Roxanne was not savvy. She was not a streetwise person.
Since Roxanne's disappearance 5 days earlier, Lewis Walls has become increasingly harder to contact. Police step up the search to find him, but he continues to be an elusive witness.
We made several requests for Lewis to come in and give us a statement. He declined to come to the police station. We attempted to meet him at places, but he was unavailable. Lewis repeatedly told us that, you know, I've already told you all I know over the phone. I don't know why you need to talk to me in person. He felt like we were trying to put this on him.
Almost 2 weeks after Roxanne's disappearance, Lewis finally agrees to a face-to-face meeting with police.
I went and I picked Lewis up and I brought him in, and he sat down and talked to us. He didn't want to answer any open-ended questions that required, I guess, a lengthy answer on exactly how things unfolded. When we talked to him about the phone calls that were made, yeah, he was mad at Roxanne for walking off, so he called other girls, he flirted with other girls, he called his ex-girlfriend. He indicated, you know, Roxanne understood that. He downplayed the boyfriend-girlfriend role.
Lewis denies any involvement in Roxanne's disappearance. While being questioned, he says there's someone who can confirm that he was still in the motel when Roxanne went missing. A motel employee who maintains that she was with Lewis for the rest of that night.
The young lady indicated that she did see Roxanne leave the hotel and that Lewis was walking behind her, and then Lewis did turn and go back to the room. She did admit that later in the night, she did go to the room and spend some time there with Lewis, and that she left approximately 3 o'clock in the morning.
Based on the phone records, which indicate Lewis made calls between 8:30 p.m. and midnight, and the witness who says she was with Lewis from 10:30 p.m. to 3 in the morning, most of Lewis's time is accounted for.
The subject also indicated that the room was not in disarray. Roxanne's belongings were in the room. Everything seemed to be in order.
But before the police get a chance to polygraph the witness, the case takes an unexpected turn. A man is brought in for questioning in Austin, and he has Roxanne's ID in his wallet. Coming up, the mystery surrounding Roxanne's disappearance deepens.
I think there was some question as to whether she might have been involved in prostitution.
Roxanne Paltoff in over a week. Her boyfriend maintains that after they had an argument, she left the motel where they were staying and didn't return. Her friends and family are deeply troubled.
I just couldn't understand it in my mind why she hasn't called me. You know, this was strange. Why hasn't she picked that phone up? And then I found out that she didn't have her cell phone, and she didn't have no money on her, because she left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse.
Searches around the motel area yield no new clues. Roxanne's boyfriend, Lewis Walls, presents a witness from the motel. But before police check out the story, there is a surprising development. 10 days after Roxanne's disappearance, her ID is discovered in the police department's Lost and Found. But how had it come into police possession?
Shortly after Roxanne disappeared, there was a disturbance call at a hotel near the Budget Inn.
A woman there alleges that a man has attempted to sexually assault her in a motel bedroom.
Officers responding to that call encountered a female victim who had been assaulted and stated that the suspect had just left the scene.
But the suspect leaves behind his wallet.
During the course of their investigation at the scene, the suspect returned to the scene.
The man, Jeffrey Moore, is detained and questioned.
No charges were brought. There was an uncooperative victim who declined to press charges. But the patrol officer did discover in this suspect's wallet was Roxanne's identification card.
The officer confiscates Roxanne's ID, but no one knows it belongs to a missing person at the time, because the police do not run a check on it until 4 days later.
When the person who is in charge of mailing back IDs entered the name into the database, of course, Roxanne came up as a missing person, and we were immediately contacted and told that Jeffrey Moore had been in possession of Roxanne's ID.
Investigators are eager to learn more about Jeffrey Moore and how he happened to have Roxanne's ID.
We ran a background check on Jeffrey Moore and did show that he had involvement in criminal activity. However, there were no convictions.
Police track Moore down, and they conduct a telephone interview with the help of an interpreter because Moore is deaf.
He indicated that he had given Roxanne a ride, her and Lewis, the day before Roxanne had disappeared.
Police contact Lewis Walls, who confirms that he and Roxanne did get a ride with Jeffrey Moore the day before Roxanne went missing.
Lewis Walls did indicate that they had gone to the store to buy cigarettes, so Roxanne had had her ID with her, and that she very well could have lost it in the car.
But police say Walls and Moore don't agree on the route they took.
Jeffrey Moore tells me that the ride was from downtown Austin to the Runberg 35 area. Lewis Walls tells me that it's from a Walgreens that is already in the Runberg 35 area back to their hotel.
This is the first inconsistency police note between Lewis Walls and Jeffrey Moore's stories. And they say Moore's account has its own contradictions.
Mr. Moore, in his initial interview on the other assault case, he indicated that Roxanne was a close friend of his, and he would like to retain the ID so that he may give it back to her in person. And in an interview with me much later, Mr. Moore indicated that he didn't know Roxanne and that he'd only met her one time. Jeffrey Moore has a plausible reason for having that card, but there's a lot of inconsistencies in both stories. Obviously, they can't both be telling the truth.
Roxanne's family is told that at one point Moore claimed to be a good friend of Roxanne's. but this is news to them.
Roxanne never mentioned having a friend named Jeffrey Moore. She would have had a friend that was deaf. She would have told us. We would have known about him. We knew her friends. We knew who she hung out with.
Unable to confirm Lewis Walls and Jeffrey Moore's stories, police have nothing to go on.
I mean, I was disappointed because I thought, okay, this guy's got her ID and we're going to find Roxanne, and that wasn't it.
Police finally polygraphed the woman from the motel who said she was with Lewis the night Roxanne disappeared. She passes, and his alibi checks out. Without enough evidence, the police are left with no leads to pursue, only questions about why Roxanne went missing. One thing starts to become clear to them. She didn't vanish on her own volition.
Roughly 10 days into the case is when it started developing for me that, okay, this person is what we refer to as involuntarily missing. In other words, I don't think that Roxanne is voluntarily absent. I didn't see any of the precursors for runaways or people who intend to be long-term missing. That was not the kind of life that someone would wish to escape.
With Roxanne now missing for 2 weeks, each passing day brings more despair for Roxanne's family.
When it gets silent, it gets eerie, because you just feel like this is the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. We're not going to have no more tips. Roxanne is lost, and nobody cares, and she's just a memory. I started gathering pictures up, her perfume bottle, crosses, just pictures, notes. I just started putting a place together. I believe it was on Roxanne's birthday. It was a birthday present to her. It's a place that I can go to, cry, pray, talk to her. It's something I see every day when I come and go.
The family also has to contend with rumors and speculation about Roxanne.
It really hurt me, like, going back to school and just having a bunch of just kids, mean kids, saying their opinion, like, do you really think she's a prostitute? People had no right to come up to me or my siblings saying what they were saying.
I think there was some question as to whether she might have been involved in prostitution and or drugs. More a function of where she disappeared from, because a lot of the street activity and criminal activity in that area is related to prostitution and drugs. But do I think that she actually engaged in any activities like that? I just don't. I don't believe so. It just doesn't fit with the kind of girl she was.
Roxanne wasn't a prostitute. She wasn't an addict. She wasn't the type of person that would normally be in that area. Roxanne, I think, had no problem with being in that area because she felt safe with Lewis Walls. I can't find an instance in Roxanne's life that she was in the Runberg 35 area that Lewis Walls wasn't with.
Finally, after almost 3 weeks, there's a break in the investigation. The remains of a girl are found near a highway intersection in southeast Austin.
It was, this is it. They found Roxanne's body. This is her. Oh my God, my daughter's dead. What happened to her?
Coming up, the agony as Roxanne's family wait for DNA results.
I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her. What am I gonna do?
As Roxanne Palthoff disappeared in a seedy area of Austin, Texas. The case was at a standstill, until a call comes in to the Austin Police Missing Persons Unit that could change everything.
The police department received a call that human remains had been discovered in the southeast section of Austin. I thought it could be Roxanne.
The police called me and asked me for Roxanne's dental records.
For over 3 harrowing weeks, the Palthoff family waits to see if the DNA from the remains matches Roxanne, never dreaming their lives would include this kind of surreal and terrifying experience.
It hit me hard. I remember being on the phone with my mother, and I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her. What am I gonna do, Mom? How? How am I supposed to deal with this?
After a tense wait, the police received the DNA results.
It was discovered that it was indeed not Roxanne.
It was just a very traumatic moment, and it was such a relief. It was such a low that it happened, but it was such a high that it wasn't Roxanne.
Roxanne's family refuses to give up hope. In March 2007, Liz Harris enlists the help of a local advertising agency.
I think I'd seen a billboard on a TV show or on the computer when I was searching missing persons, and I saw a billboard and I wanted a billboard.
The billboard goes up in March 2007, a block away from the Budget Inn where Roxanne was last seen.
The billboard is a big blessing. She's up there 24/7. Thousands of people go down 35 or different areas of town, so she's not forgotten. She's not put away. Her sign is out there, and they see Roxanne. That helps a whole lot.
Over 200 people report having seen Roxanne in Austin, alive.
Elizabeth has a number on the billboard that will go to her. Every tip that is relayed directly to me so that I can follow up. And all those leads have to be tracked down.
This guy called in, told me that he saw my daughter working at a bank in North Austin. So I found out where the bank was. One of the tellers, she looks similar to Roxanne.
Unfortunately, none of those hits give us any credible, concrete leads as to exactly what happened to Roxanne.
1 year later, as the mystery deepens, the case attracts the attention of local journalist Jordan Smith.
Her mother, Elizabeth Harris, had put flyers all over town looking for Roxanne, and I think you couldn't go anywhere without seeing them. And I was taken by this picture of this girl who seemed to go missing from very strange circumstances. One of the things that's just so tantalizing and so frustrating about Roxanne's case is that all the pieces are there. Nobody's being fully honest about what they know, I don't think, and that's just very frustrating.
And still no sign of Roxanne Palthoff. She was last seen 1 year ago today in North Austin. Today, her family and friends peppered that same area with flyers. They hope it's going to spark someone's memory, lead to new clues, and hopefully lead to Roxanne.
It flew by, to be honest. You couldn't believe that it was already a year without Roxanne. She was there for my birthday when I turned 15, and when I turned 16, she wasn't there. And she was the one who made the cakes, who went with my mom to buy us presents.
Coconut cake.
When that birthday came around, she wasn't there. That's when it really hit home.
Seven months later, the police and Roxanne's grieving family get a solid break in the case. After a witness said Walls was with her the night of Roxanne's disappearance, police turned their focus away from him. But in March 2008, Walls is back on their radar.
Lewis Walls came back to the forefront of the investigation when his current girlfriend came forward and made the statement that Lewis Walls told her he would harm her and that he had killed a girl before.
Coming up, investigators zero in on who is responsible for Roxanne's disappearance.
I have two violent offenders. I suspect that one of them's hiding.
Outside a motel in a rough area of Austin, Texas. In March 2008, police learned some disturbing news about Roxanne's boyfriend, Lewis Walls, that they think could move the case forward.
Lewis had gotten into an incident with a woman that he'd been dating who he has a child with. They had met to discuss some child support and child care issues, but instead of talking about that, he ended up threatening this young woman, also another young woman, significantly younger than me, and sort of whispering some things to her that, you know, if she didn't basically behave, that he would do to her what he'd done to Roxanne.
What he had said was that if she did not want to end up like that girl, Roxanne, that she needed to do what he wanted her to do.
If someone threatens harm and the threat is believable, it is viewed as a criminal act.
She had ever the same to you.
Lewis's girlfriend makes a statement to police and is granted a restraining order against him. Lewis is charged with making a terroristic threat and sentenced to 140 days in jail. While incarcerated, police interview Lewis about the claims that he killed Roxanne.
Lewis was very confrontational, and at the point of what he said, he repeatedly told me, I didn't say that, that's not what I said, she's lying, she's just trying to get back at me because I don't want to be with her anymore. She set me up, she just wanted me sent to jail. She had prior knowledge of his involvement with Roxanne's case and was trying to use that against him.
With Walls denying the comment, and no solid evidence against him, police have nothing to go on. Over the course of the investigation, a friendship develops between Roxanne's mother, Liz Harris, and the lead detective on the case, James Scott.
Every Wednesday, I could expect, like clockwork, a call from Elizabeth saying, hey, you know, what's new?
At first, I used to say, this is Elizabeth Harris, Roxanne Paltoff's mother, but now I've learned this is Elizabeth Harris. I hear his voice change immediately. It's not a voice of dread, oh God, here's that mother calling me. It's a voice of disappointment that he hasn't been able to find Roxanne, like he hasn't accomplished what he set out to do.
I try to keep her updated on what I'm doing. You build a relationship with the family. You know, I've met her family, she's met my family. You feel a frustration, a sense of loss. You want to give people that closure. You want to give them the answers they're looking for.
I truly believe in my heart that he is genuine about finding Roxanne and doing whatever it takes to find her.
She's a mother missing a child. She's never going to stop looking. And as a detective, yeah, how can I quit? As long as Roxanne's missing, I have to look for her.
Four years later, the Austin police get a call from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Skeletal remains have been found that match Roxanne's description.
Of course, the significance of Albuquerque, we do know that Lewis Walls made several phone calls to Albuquerque immediately after Roxanne's disappearance to call his ex-girlfriend.
Was it too much of a coincidence?
It was very significant, and it was, once again, another one of those hold-your-breath moments. This could be a huge break in this case. This could be finally some closure as far as where is Roxanne.
Detective Scott forwards Roxanne's dental records to the medical examiner in New Mexico, but this time chooses not to share the discovery with Roxanne's mother, Elizabeth.
Until I had a confirmation, I can't put myself in the position of causing her that grief. I don't think that's a roller coaster ride that she needs to go on.
After a week, the dental records show that the remains are not those of Roxanne.
I don't think at this point in time that there's really any hope that Roxanne will be found alive. It just sound 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 alive. It just sound.
She a party and she would dance.
When she went to the bar that night, that was the last time we seen her.
She's riding into the night with a mystery man on a motorcycle.
We knew we needed a break. Who is this individual?
I know my daughter. She would contact me.
Is she alive somewhere needing to be rescued? We started to find more what we believed were human remains.
Somebody knows something and you're not telling, and we need to know.
For Sherry Prather, life can be summed up with 3 words: family, fun, and Harleys.
My mom, she was definitely a free spirit. She wasn't one for rules. She did have a lot of friends from like a lot of different backgrounds. Mom was very attracted to Harleys. She loved motorcycles, so anytime like she's seen one, she wanted to go for a ride.
She loved a party and she would dance. And she loved to sing karaoke. She could sing really good. She had a beautiful voice, sounded just like Stevie Nicks. She was not just my daughter, she was my best friend.
Norma Ellis is a young single mom when her daughter Sherry is born.
They laid her on my chest. It was just a shock, like our heart became one. And like they just beat in rhythm together. That just stays with me all the time because it was just like a jolt. It was like we just become one.
Norma strives to give Sherry everything she missed in her own upbringing.
I didn't have a real good childhood. We didn't have a loving family. And I wanted her to be raised to know what it felt like to be wanted, big Christmas and stuff. I tried to cram all that in for her. Anything, if she said she wanted it, if I had to work 2 shifts, I was going to get it for her.
Sherry's childhood is filled with love, but she also has to grow up fast.
She was very caring. If I was in bed sick, she'd come in there every 15 or 20 minutes and put a cold rag on my head, and she always took care of me. I didn't have any help but her, and she was young. We had the tightest relationship, and it was my birthday. She brought me roses. Yeah, she brought me roses.
Like her mother, Sherry falls in love at a young age, and by her early 20s, she's married with 2 baby girls.
That's her, holding one of the kids. The young mother, that's her husband. That was her husband. It didn't last too long.
I think at the time, like when she had us, she was so young, she wasn't ready to be a mom, so she kind of grew up with us.
After 5 years of marriage, the relationship falls apart, and Sherry finds herself a single mom. She moves in with Norma for support.
It was just the 4 of us, all women. We were one. She was close to her girls. She liked the freedom to come and go, and she knew that I was going to be there to take care of the girl even more.
Through years of abuse and struggle, Sherry turns to alcohol and drugs to numb the pain.
Her addiction was probably her biggest battle. She battled with that for a very long time.
By the time Sherry is 30 years old, she manages to fight off her demons.
She was clean and sober. She didn't even drink or anything anymore, but she was still a free spirit.
In 2012, after years of sobriety, Sherry is now a 43-year-old mother of 2 adult daughters. Her youngest, Mandy, is 22 and still lives with Sherry and Norma. By now, Sherry has been clean long enough to feel comfortable hanging out with friends at a local bar without drinking. And on October 12th, she makes plans to meet up with some friends at a place called Boots and Bottles.
It's a little hole in the wall, more like bikers and like the older type of crowd.
She said, I am going to walk. I said, get in the car. I would take you rather than you walk because it's a real bad road. And it was dark. It was 10 or 11 o'clock.
So me and Grandma actually took Mom up there. When she went to the bar that night, she was supposed to just hang out. And that was the last time we seen her.
By the following morning, when Sherry hasn't returned home, her mother grows concerned.
I knew that she was missing because she did not call me. I knew something was wrong the minute she didn't come home.
When a day passes with still no word from Sherry, Norma and Mandy decide to act.
So Monday I told Grandma, I just have a feeling like we need to go to the police station. But because of like her background and how old she was, they really didn't want to file a missing persons report. So of course, my grandma being who she is, it was an uproar in there.
And they kept trying to tell me, she's a grown woman, we're not filing it. I said, oh yeah, oh yes you are.
Missing person cases, sometimes you hear, you have 24 hours to be reported missing. That's not really the case. Oftentimes, it's the circumstances surrounding the individual. Is this uncommon for them? Or are there foul play, signs of a struggle, something like that?
With Norma's insistence, the police take the missing persons report. But they are not overly concerned yet and don't immediately begin an investigation.
We don't quite have enough to where you feel confident that something did occur that would cause the missing persons team to react immediately as opposed to not.
But 3 days after Norma last saw Sherry walking into the Boots and Bottles bar, she's convinced otherwise.
You try to go to sleep and wake up in the morning and put your feet on the floor and you think, oh gosh, that was a horrible dream. And you start to walk down the hall and you say, oh no, she's not in there. I know my daughter and I need some help. Somebody's holding her captive or she's laying hurt somewhere. Something is wrong.
A relentless mother drives the investigation forward.
I checked all the tips, pleaded on the internet, please come forward, please come forward.
It was really incredible to see the mother's strength and will to just keep going.
But it's a long wait before investigators can confront their prime suspect.
We were fairly confident that a confession was not going to occur with this individual because he has told so many lies.
He stands up the minute they walk out of the room and he bangs his head on the interview table.
3 days after Sherry Prather was last seen, her mother Norma is still struggling to have Jacksonville police take her daughter's missing persons case seriously.
They kept saying, she's an adult, we can't. I said, I want it filed. I will go downtown to whoever I have to. I know my daughter. She would contact me.
And eventually, Norma's entreaties pay off. On October 15th, detectives start their investigation at the bar where Sherry was last seen.
Boots and Bottles is a small establishment. It's just an old-fashioned place to grab a beer in the neighborhood of Ocean Way. But it was popular at the time.
It's a small little dive bar is how I would describe it. particularly people that ride motorcycles would kind of hang out there.
Sherry Prather was a regular there. That's what we had heard from people. It was kind of the gathering spot for her and her friends.
Investigators first talked to the bar's owner to see if he noticed anything unusual on the night that Sherry vanished.
We're looking, what firsthand knowledge does he have? What secondhand information does he have from his employees or people that were there? So he did tell our detectives that he knew Sherry Prather was there. She was there with a group of friends, and that's all that he could really provide. He was able to say, hey, these were some other people that may have been here at this time. That gave us a direction to go in.
Investigators also searched the bar itself for any clues.
Detectives searched Boots and Bottles for any type of physical evidence, including video footage, anything that could show Sherry.
But unfortunately, the bar has no surveillance cameras, and detectives can find no other evidence of any value. They know they need to find potential witnesses, so they begin reaching out to the bar patrons mentioned by the owner and any other regulars they can find who might have been there the night Sherry disappeared.
They said she was there with her friends, and that's when she decides to leave. Little did they know that was going to be the last time that they saw her.
Sherry left in the wee hours of the morning toward closing time. And we did find there were some local gentlemen that openly articulated as a motorcycle club.
They were motorcycle gang members, the outlaws.
And we knew the members of that club didn't even want to speak to the police.
The detectives learned that the biker gang is listed by the FBI as an organized crime ring, linked to illegal activities, including drug trafficking, prostitution, extortion, and money laundering.
So we made contact with those members. Eventually, we knew much of that would be a dead end. We weren't going to get much information from those folks.
Their presence at the location from which Sherry disappeared is worrying, but police find no evidence connecting her and the biker gang. Days pass with no new leads, and the case seems to be hitting a wall. At the same time, word of Sherry's disappearance catches the attention of local news reporters.
At the time, I was a field reporter, and police did not have a lot of information to go on. So certainly, it was a mysterious case. I wanted to talk to Norma. I went to her house and knocked and knocked and knocked, and eventually she came to the door, and you could tell she was disheveled. She doesn't know where her daughter is. Is she alive somewhere needing to be rescued? Obviously, she's going through all of these emotions. And there's a lot of family members that would say, no, we're not able to talk right now. We're too distraught. There's people that would slam the door in my face. Norma came out and did an interview with me.
That was my only child. She was my whole life.
So now she's pleading that someone knows something.
Every night I hear her calling me to unlock the door to let her in, and I can't take it anymore.
I remember she showed a picture of Sherry, and that was the first time we really got to see a picture of this woman who was missing, besides what had been released by police. She had a flyer, and she did everything she could.
If you don't get out and help, your case is not going to get solved. It's just going to be shoved to the bottom. I went out, everybody at the bar that gave me information, I checked all the tips. We pleaded on the internet, please come forward, please come forward. We did a lot of posting on Facebook, just about every day, pleading, any tip. I just want some information.
If there was a 1% chance that Sherry was alive, Norma was going to use that 1% chance as motivation to keep going. And it was really incredible to see the mother's strength and will to just keep going.
It's been 3 weeks since Sherry Prather vanished from a Jacksonville bar called Boots and Bottles. Missing persons detectives are failing to gain traction in the investigation.
Obviously, detectives are going to have to keep some things close to the vest. They were struggling, and they were frustrated too at the time. They were having trouble finding leads. So it did become a whodunit.
But Sherry's mother, Norma, and her daughter, Mandy, refused to let the investigation wither.
Me and Grandma actually drove around and went into a lot of bad houses and bad areas trying to find her, just to see if they've seen her, if they talked to her.
And told people at gas stations that looked like dopers, you know, you seen my daughter? I never was afraid.
She's in high crime areas. She's talking to people that could be perceived as dangerous. She's doing everything to find her daughter, and she wasn't going to stop.
We put up posters every morning, please help. There was a lot of witness. Somebody knows something and you're not telling, and we need to know.
I vividly remember begging with her to please stand down and not place herself in a situation where harm could come to her. I spoke to Miss Ellis, reassuring her that we were doing everything we can and that we weren't forgetting her case.
We did advise her numerous times to let the officers and the detectives in our office conduct the investigation, all the while knowing that I would probably be doing the same thing she was doing if I was in her shoes.
"30 days into the investigation, police finally get their first solid lead. On November 12, 2012, Teresa Lennox, a childhood friend of Sherry's daughter Mandy, contacts detectives, claiming to have information.
Can you state your name? My name is Teresa Lennox.
Investigators bring her in for an interview.
When I turned on the news and I saw the missing persons report for Sherry Prather, I broke down. I got really upset. I was crying loudly. My uncle came out of his bedroom.
That's
my Uncle Jack.
Uncle Jack.
Yeah.
Teresa explains that she has been staying with her uncle for a few weeks while she looks for an apartment. He is a regular at Boots and Bottles.
When Jack came out of his bedroom, he asked me what was going on. And I pointed at the TV, and he said, well, who is that? And I said, well, that's Sherry Prather. I said, that's my, really good friend of mine's mother. And he goes, really? He said, that's the one that they've been putting up pictures of all over town. I said, yeah, it is. He said, well, I might know what happened to her. And he said, well, all I know is that supposedly this biker guy killed her over money and dumped her on Braddock Road. That's what he said. That's all I know. And he left it at that.
Detectives press Teresa for the name of the biker. She insists she knows nothing. She says she hasn't seen her Uncle Jack for several days, and investigators are unable to locate him. Meanwhile, another team from the Missing Persons Unit is deployed to Braddock Road, the place Teresa claims Sherry's body was dumped.
It is in a very rural part of the city of Jacksonville. It's a heavily wooded area. It's not a well-lit area. It's a local road.
The investigative team searches through rough terrain, pulling back branches and combing through tall grass. They find bone fragments, but at first glance, they appear to be from an animal.
There were animal carcasses, and that particular location of the woods is known to be a dump site for hunters. They dump deer, hog, wild hog carcasses and there's quite a few scavengers out there. It was at that time that we made the decision to contact one of our dog handlers who has a dog that specializes in locating human remains.
The highly trained dog gets to work, scouring the discarded bones spread across the field. Then, he signals his handler that he's found something.
The dog located what they believed were human remains. He immediately contacted the on-call homicide team, which was my team, and we responded to the scene. We started to find more what we believed were human remains scattered throughout the woods. There was a potential body that could be Sherry.
30 days after Sherry Prather was last seen, a tip leads detectives investigating her disappearance to a rugged piece of land in Jacksonville, Florida, where they have found human remains.
We blocked off a large section, shut that area down, and then brought in teams of evidence technicians, or crime scene unit detectives, to assist us in literally combing the entire woods, from the roadway all the way into the woods, which took several days. We located some clothing, some shoes, small piece of jewelry. With great assistance from the K-9, we were able to recover all human remains.
The Office of the Medical Examiner here in Jacksonville were able to locate some living x-rays of Sherry Prather and compare them to the deceased remains of Sherry Prather, and those bones did confirm it was in fact her.
We were all actually at my grandma's house, and they called, and they told us over the phone that they had found remains.
I felt relieved that they had found her, but the thought of animals eating her and taking her was the hardest part for me to take. I thought I was going to die. And I thought, this can't be real. This can't be real.
Once they confirmed that it was her, just the thought of it was just pieces, wasn't even like all of her, is I think what truly broke our family.
Homicide detectives take over the case, but they know they face a tough task. Given the condition of Sherry's remains, determining how she died will be difficult.
We decided early on to reach out to an expert, a forensic anthropologist. We knew she was an expert at analyzing bones and determining how they were broken, if they're broken, whether they were shot with a firearm, whether they were stabbed.
The forensic anthropologist gets to work, decoding the secrets Sherry's remains hold.
While that is going on, we're sending detectives to start backtracking. We already know she went missing at Boots and Bottles.
Investigators know Boots and Bottles has no surveillance cameras, but they hope a nearby business might. They go back and canvass the strip mall. They discover that a nearby cell phone store does have a camera, and it points in the direction of the bar's parking lot.
When we watched the video to see if there was anything, it clearly showed Sherry Prather walking out to an individual who was standing by a motorcycle. She gets on that motorcycle, and then they leave the establishment with Sherry on the back as a passenger.
Detectives know they are witnessing Sherry Prather's final moments.
It was mysterious. It's not great video. It's not high quality. It's dark. It would be difficult to identify anyone's facial features from it, but it shows she's riding into the night with a mystery man on a motorcycle leaving a bar.
It's their first look at the person who may be responsible for Sherry's death.
Is this some sort of a motorcycle gang? Is there some bigger criminal activity here? Are we dealing with a serial killer? There's definitely an uneasiness in the neighborhood. And this is not a neighborhood that's immune from crime.
As detectives try to identify the man in the video, they get word from the forensic anthropologist that she reached a conclusion on Sherry's cause of death.
When she found a semicircle beveling in a vertebrae, that absolutely confirmed to us that Sherry Prather was in fact shot.
But detectives have nothing pointing to the identity of her killer.
We knew we needed a break. Who is this individual?
Detectives turn to the public for help, releasing the video of Sherry Prather's final moments to the media. As the video hits the airwaves, tips start pouring in, and one call in particular stands out. It's from a woman named Samantha Johnson, who claims to know the identity of the man seen with Sherry on the video.
We had her come down to homicide.
Today is November 14th, approximately 6:26 p.m. And can you just state your name for me?
Samantha Burleson Johnson.
You saw a news story regarding a missing person, right?
Yes, sir.
And on that news story, there was a video of a man and a woman on a bicycle leaving somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Did you recognize the person on that motorcycle?
Yes, sir.
And who'd you recognize that person to be?
Johnny Wayne Johnson.
Surveillance video has revealed Sherry Prather's final moments, riding on the back of an unidentified man's motorcycle. Now, a witness has come forward claiming to know the identity of the biker in the video.
And who'd you recognize that person to be?
Johnny Wayne Johnson.
Samantha Johnson is Johnny Wayne's wife. They're still currently married, but not living together. They're separated.
In addition to identifying her estranged husband, Samantha tells investigators that she also has information about what happened to Sherry that night.
Okay, what do you say about the girl that was on the back of the motorcycle?
He took her to somewhere off Trout River Boulevard, Braddock Road, and dropped her off.
And at that point, he shot her?
Yes, sir. He said he didn't have enough time to move the female, so he just dragged her into the woods.
Johnny had a conversation with her as to what occurred that evening, proved that he in fact killed Sherry, and more importantly, before her body was ever located. He gave very specific information of where he placed the body, and she was able to provide that information.
Detectives begin a deep dive into their new prime suspect, and it's eye-opening.
He had built a character of himself with the local community, and they were truly scared of the guy. But we worked with our intelligence unit, which is the unit that oversees and monitors all the various motorcycle gangs in and around the region, and we had no indication that he was a gang member. The guy had told quite a few stories to build up his presence.
Detectives find Johnny Johnson's address and rush to the location, ready for anything. To their surprise, he calmly welcomes them.
He admitted, yeah, he picked her up at the bar, and he took her and dropped her off at a house. We actually got him to show us the house that she was dropped off at.
But detectives are suspicious of Johnny's version of events, and when they interview the owners of the house, they hear a different story.
We actually were able to determine that nobody ever came by their house. They don't know Sherry Prather. They don't know Johnny Wayne Johnson. That simply didn't occur.
Detectives suspect that Johnny Johnson killed Sherry Prather, but his estranged wife's statement isn't enough to arrest him. They need solid proof.
In a case where you have very little physical evidence, there's no DNA, there's no murder weapon, there's not an intact body, there's no eyewitnesses, we needed more evidence. We asked Sergeant Farhat, his team, to continue to pursue evidence.
That is difficult. Letting them walk out that door makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up when you're like, my God, we know this guy did it. Let's be patient. Time's on our side. We're going to continue and work this case to the very end.
But weeks, then months go by without the homicide team able to find the proof it needs.
Successfully convicting him requires us to prove our case beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. So we continue the investigation to the frustration of us all.
Then, Samantha Johnson, also frustrated that her estranged husband is still a free man, agrees to wear a wire to help with the investigation.
It was a detective that was investigating a missing persons case.
Yeah.
Who discovered it off of a tip.
But isn't that the place that you said all this happened?
Like I said, I ain't just.
But what really happened?
It is what it is. Right now, I don't want to really get into it until it's over with, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough.
Samantha is unable to provoke a confession, but she does have another lead to offer the investigators. She tells them she's learned that Johnny had a girlfriend named Jordan Paris, and she's heard through the grapevine that she may have helped him dispose of Sherry's body.
We actually brought her downtown to the homicide office and conducted an interview.
Johnny, who is John Wayne, correct? Johnson. Yeah, her boy. Yeah.
She was not completely forthcoming. She did admit pieces that Johnny went out that night. She knew something happened, but was terrified to tell us.
I'm afraid of what will happen if he knows. I don't. He just kept bringing stories up.
Of what?
And some other girl had gotten smart with someone of power.
Mm-hmm.
And they were either going to take care of it or the girl boyfriend had to take care of it. That was a member of the club.
Take care of it as in what?
Beat her.
But investigators continue pressing Jordan for information, confronting her about claims that she helped move Sherry's body.
Obviously, information that was provided that said that you assisted him in moving a body or bodies with your PT Cruiser is inaccurate?
What? No.
Okay, so it is inaccurate.
Yes.
Okay. Your vehicle has never had any human remains in it?
No human remains, no.
We took possession of her car, got a warrant, and we went through every square inch of that car forensically. There was no physical evidence in that car that indicated that Sherry was ever in that vehicle.
Jordan Paris is cleared of any involvement with the disposal of the body, and detectives are no closer to finding the physical evidence they need. Now, they're forced to wonder if their main witness against Johnny, his estranged wife Samantha, is telling them the truth, or if she has ulterior motives for implicating him in a murder.
They were in the process of separating. Was she fabricating these types of statements by him? If she's jealous of the new girlfriend, we knew we needed a break. We needed a witness or witnesses that sure may have been close to the defendant, but had no motive to lie.
The detective said, we've got one shot is all we have, because they could not find the gun. To put this murder charge on him, we have to have more evidence. And I said, I cannot take this anymore.
The break they need eludes the detectives, and for 4 years, there are no new leads. Then, in 2016, a man named Mike Carroll calls police, saying he's been too frightened of Johnny Johnson to say anything, but has finally found the courage to speak up. He tells investigators that on the night of the murder, he received a phone call from Johnny.
It was the wee hours, 4 or 5 in the morning, and Johnny Wayne Johnson told him he messed up and he needed some help cleaning something up. He told him he had dumped Sherry in the woods, that he wanted help finding ways to hide the remains. Of course, Michael Carroll refused.
So that was the critical piece, the final piece.
Investigating the murder of Sherry Prather, authorities have finally found the witness they need. On November 18, 2016, armed with the account of a man who says he was asked to help dispose of Sherry's body, investigators bring Johnny Johnson in for a critical round of questioning.
Our goal is simple, and that's to get a confession. So we brought him in to homicide.
Tony, do you remember a detective talking to you 4 years ago about the girl that was missing from Boots and Bottles?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I took him to where I dropped her off at. Yeah.
Do you remember her?
Yeah. I've been keeping up with the story in hopes that y'all catch the person who does it.
Now, we were fairly confident that a confession probably was not going to occur with this individual because he has told so many lies, but we still tried.
Not being honest, Johnny,
Yeah.
but you got to explain your side of the story.
And I have been. I dropped her off on Trout River.
But you didn't.
I did.
You took her to Braddock Road.
No, I don't know about Braddock Road.
Yes, you do, Johnny. It's right there. It's right there. You've been down it several times.
As the detectives started presenting him with the case and questioning him what occurred, they said, look, we know you're lying.
I done told you.
That's not the whole story.
It is the whole story. That's all I know, and I didn't do it. You can believe what you want to believe. I did not do it. I swear on my father's grave.
Just denials. I didn't tell him that. I didn't tell my girlfriend that. I didn't tell my wife that version. I didn't tell her anything. It was a multitude of denials throughout his interview.
Can I go home?
No, you cannot.
Why is that?
Because I'm charging you with murder.
I didn't do murder.
Well, I'm charging you with it, and we can prove it, Johnny.
No, you cannot, because I didn't do it.
He stands up the minute they walk out of the room, and he bangs his head on the interview table.
Oh, bud.
Detectives call EMTs to check Johnson out. Once he's given the all clear,
You are good to go.
they charge him with murder. As prosecutors prepare to bring Johnny Johnson to trial, his lawyers approach them with a plea offer.
We reached that plea agreement of 20.4 years in prison to second-degree murder, which is what he was charged with. We took that offer to the victim's family, and as you can imagine, the family was very happy to get him to finally acknowledge legally in a courtroom that he was in fact guilty.
I looked at Mandy and she said, Grandma, as old as he is, he got 20 and a half years, and he was supposed to have already been sick. She said, he'll never live to come out of there.
The only thing that I felt was I did feel a little relief knowing that he wasn't out there and that he couldn't do it to anybody else and ruin anybody else's family. But at the same time, it's like you put my family through a lot, and in our minds, like the sentence that he got wasn't enough. I do remember her ambition and her fight. Like she never gave up. It didn't matter, and she's very headstrong. So when she has like something in her head, like she's gonna get to that point, no matter what it takes her.
This one was just a few days before she disappeared because she had just gotten her glasses. We're in the backyard. She never wore glasses before, and she said, "Oh, I'm not going to wear these." I said, "Well, if you want to see." I didn't know this would be the very last picture